Okay, so you've finished working on your project in DaVinci Resolve. Now you want to export it with the best settings possible. In this video, I'll show you how to export 1080p to YouTube, 4K to YouTube, and also a good format for YouTube Shorts, TikToks, Reels, and things like that. Let's get started with YouTube 1080p, and that's exactly the format I created this video in. So when I'm happy with everything, I go to Deliver, and then I get all kinds of options. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is make sure I give it a name. So I'm going to call this Mike, and make sure I choose the correct location. My movies folder is absolutely fine. So as I'm exporting things, I need to check that I've got the right format selected, and for YouTube, it's going to be MP4. This will put your codec as H.264, which you definitely want. And then you can select things like resolution, which is absolutely fine. Frame rate is fine again, 25, that's good for YouTube. This is where it gets interesting, restrict to. Now, if you leave it on automatic, then DaVinci Resolve is going to render it out in whatever it feels is best. But YouTube has strict guidelines on what is best. And if we actually take a look for an HDR upload at 1080p, it's 15 megabits per second. So this is where we go in and we type a number in. 15,000 will be 15 megabits per second. So that's fine. Everything else here can be left as is. When we go to the audio, YouTube specifically, again, on their page, ask for AAC audio, and they generally ask for it at a constant bit rate, and the sample rate can be anywhere you like, but generally I'd leave that at the highest possible and allow YouTube to do the processing on their end, as I always believe in sending the highest quality audio, and if it needs to be compressed down by YouTube, so be it. But that is basically it to render, and then you just add that to your render queue and you start to render it out, and it will just create your project just like that. Very, very simple, and it does it with ease. Now, how about going to 4K? Well, this is where I'd go back to my edit view over here, and I'd simply click on the timeline up here. I'd right click it, go to timeline settings and change this. So untick use project settings and actually say I want a Ultra HD render. So that's 3840 by 2160, that's 4K quality. So now I've done that, I can go to deliver and I can simply keep everything as is. Video MP4, H.264, resolution is indeed Ultra HD. Again, we're going to need to look at YouTube's supporting settings, and for HD, wow, at 4K, we're looking at 66 to 85 megabits per second. So we just change this number to, instead of be 15, it can be 85. 85,000 kilobits per second or 85 megabits per second, and then everything else leave as is, add it to the render queue, and again, we can rename, replace our original recording, whatever we'd like, and we can render it out. But how about if you're working on TikTok, Shorts, Reels, and you want to do that different dimension? Well, again, that's pretty straightforward. We just go back to the edit window, we right-click on the timeline, go to timeline settings, and this time we're going to swap things around. And generally, for anything that's like a short, a TikTok, a Reel, we do 1080 by 1920. Okay, so this is turning into something that's custom. And then we click OK, and you'll see how it readjusts things. That looks very much like the kind of usual thing that we're looking for, the vertical kind of video. But now we're going to have to go through and adjust the size of everything. So we're probably going to want to adjust the zoom here. And maybe we might even want to move the position of things. And we'll need to do this for each individual clip. As you'll see, it isn't unfortunately automatically done for us. So it takes a little bit of post-editing and jiggling around to get everything exactly as we want it. But once we have a really good-looking YouTube short, TikTok, Reel, whatever it is we're delivering, we can then go to Deliver, and we can do it in the 1080 by 1920 resolution. And then we might want to move the quality all the way down again to something around, well, definitely not that high. We probably want to go to around 15,000 again, and that'll be great. We can then add that to the render queue, replace our original project, render it out, and there we go. That is how you do 1080p for YouTube, 4K, and also TikTok, Reels, and Shorts. If you've got any questions, then do let me know in the comments down below.